Can't even comprehend just how powerful Jae-won truly is. This also makes him wonder if he even became stronger than before. He closes his eyes and accepts his defeat, but Jae-won tells him the final key to unlock the third stage, to remove the limits that the world dared to put on him. With that, Kamen opens his eyes wide and unlocks the third stage of awakening, to forget him, that the world decided on. They both attack each other with mighty strikes, and Kamen uses the Moon Eye ability to unleash an even mightier attack. After it's all said and done, raindrops fall and he stands on his knees. Jae-won congratulates him as he has reached the third stage. Kamen asks if he really became stronger, and Jae-won confirms that he did. But still, Kamen feels nowhere near him, even though they are both at the same stage of awakening. Once their training is over, everyone meets inside of the fortress meeting room, where the other fortress masters reject the idea of them going on an expedition, as it would break their treaty that has been standing for a long time. Jong immediately gets on their case, as if they did nothing until the expedition was made, then they should just shut up, as they have no right to talk. Yurin explains that the reason they are all gathered here today is because of the Forbidden Heaven clan incident, so they should all relax and return to the topic at hand. One of them suggests that they continue on this topic, since they already started to talk about it. This is Garuda's fortress master, Gal Huidong, an 8th stage adapter. He says that the captain for this expedition should be picked through voting. The Dryad fortress master, Aisha Lind Croft, kind of agrees with him, and also asks where the current Gorgon fortress master is, as he should have received the information about this meeting. Yurin thinks that this was all a setup to not have him here, as the moment Jae-won left this place, a suggestion for the 3 fortresses to meet was made, and before they could even hope to reject it, they got a messenger eagle that announces their envoys have already departed. While it is true that the adaptation team returned, the fortress master and Kamen, who are in the awakening team, have yet to do so. This was all a ploy, as they wanted him gone, so they could sway the conversation in the way they wanted. Gal notes that they should not put their trust in a child who only lived for 50 years. Are they mad to let such an inexperienced man take the role of expedition captain? He continues to disrespect Jae-won, but suddenly Jong puts a knife to his neck and dares him to talk shit again. Gal asks what he is trying to do, and Jong explains that if he wants to talk with abilities, they should do so. If they really want to change the expedition captain, then they should deal with them first, as they will not stand by while they change it. Gal and Jong go to an arena, with Gal asking if he really wants to go through with this, and Jong in turn asks if he's scared. Gal allows him to make the first move, and he does just that as he pops behind him and tries to attack. Gal dodges, but Jong continues to move even faster. Gal commends his speed, and Jong flies into the air and lands directly on Gal, who has no choice but to defend himself against such a powerful attack. He is quite surprised that a 7-stage adapter got so powerful and admits that he did not expect this. However, no matter how hard he fights, he can't hope to surpass him, as he is an 8th stage adapter. With that, Gal unleashes his golden chakrams on Jong, which hits him pretty hard, making the spectators wonder if he will be able to do something now. Gal, thinking that the fight is over, commends him for his skills, and announces to everyone that, since the lighting god has fallen, just as promised, they will change the expedition captain. Suddenly Jong gets up and tells him to stop speaking, as he hasn't lost yet. From now on, he will show him something very interesting. They both attack each other, and surprisingly, Jong uses an ability from Hwang, which burns Gal's chakrams. He is surprised to see a technique from the Fire King, and Jong also uses an ability from the Savant clan leader, Jagal. Gal screams at them for teaching their sacred techniques to each other. Have they really thrown away all pride? Jong rushes in with extreme speeds and notes that pride does not win battles. He manages to land a mighty blow, but Gal still stands and announces that, if this really is the case, he must get serious too. He unleashes all of his power into a mighty chakram, which makes the normal spectators just run away, as they don't want to be caught in it. The chakram grows even larger, and when it touches the ground, it raises most of it, as stone is thrown around and sent flying in all directions. Aisha watches this in amazement, and Gal taunts Jong, as he wants to see if he will really survive such an attack. That's when he notices that Jong was in the air all of this time, and tells him that he did great, as he unleashes one of his mightiest attacks yet. The attack only reaches his forehead, as Muguk stops Jong since the fight is over. He tells Gal that his match is over, and also asks if he was really going to use the guardian horned beast Garuda in this situation. Gal clenches his fist in shame, as this is an anti-dead weapon, and announces that he lost. With that, Muguk asks, who will be the one to fight him, Aisha? If she feels worthy enough, she should come down right now. Suddenly, Guker gets close to Gal, and Muguk asks what she's doing. She announces that she's simply going to the winning side, much to the others' dismay. Suddenly, out of the blue, a man announces that he will be the one to deal with Muguk. This man is the Jade Mask Golden Monarch, Bang Chionil, a 9th stage adapter. Jurin wonders what a monarch is doing here, and Muguk notes that he is the enemy of chaos, who took all of the fruits after killing everyone. How dare he step foot in this place? Chionil tells him to stop talking like this and invites him back, as the Monarch of Steel misses him a great deal. Muguk asks if he's really working for the Steel Monarch now, and Chionil confirms that he indeed is, as his king has a soft spot for martial artists. Muguk notes that if that's true, that man's legacy is over, if he decided to accept human trash like him. Chionil wonders how he can still be mad about something that happened in the past. Heyo, the Steel Monarch, forgave him very easily, but he guesses that comes with status. He shouldn't be so angry at another martial artists. Have they not done a lot of stuff together in the past? Muguk's eyes widen with rage, and he charges in, while reprimanding him for saying such a thing, as he was the one who betrayed the entire Muram world. With a single hand attack, Chionil blocks him, and notes that he's being really too harsh. This is their first time meeting after well over 900 years, so they should chat. Muguk gets even madder, and attacks with even more fervor while asking, since when did the Dryad, Garuda, and Priestess clan get played by them in such a way? Chionil acts a fool. They were only giving them advice, so that they can make wiser decisions. He should also stop talking nonsense about others, when he, the Gorgon Fortress Master, and a few others, were just pipe dreaming about something unachievable. Truly, they are even more pitiful now than ever. Aisha looks at the fight from above, but it can be seen on her face that she's conflicted about something. Suddenly, the emissary of the Steel Monarch arrives, young, and tells her to throw away those thoughts. She made the right decision. The current Gorgon Fortress Master is extremely dangerous, much more than the Forbidden Heaven clan leader. He is attempting to use the Abyss Expedition Squad to unite the entirety of Chaos, and their great monarch considers him a threat. Threat is the title given to those who wish or attempt to change Chaos, and every time one of these threats appears, hope also starts to appear. However, that will eventually lead to despair. Young continues, if they do not get rid of him right now, once again, Chaos will suffer. And since she has lived for 970 years, she knows full well what happened 90 years ago. Aisha feels like it happened yesterday, so she can't let another tragedy like that happen again. That is when Young came with the offer, when she was vulnerable. But now, she's very conflicted, as she doesn't know if this is right. Chionil continues to block Muguk's attacks, and notes that it would be wise to stop now, as he can't hope to defeat him in his current state. He knows that full well, doesn't he? Muguk does not answer with words. Instead, he uses his blade and a technique, Heavenly Sword, to reach for Chionil's neck. But instead, the attack blows up, as he used a technique to block it. He explains that there are tons of differences in abilities between adapter stages, but when it comes to the 8th and 9th stage, the difference is extremely high. He pulls Muguk closer and tells him to get to the 9th stage before he thinks of coming back to them, because somebody like him, who does not possess the class of a monarch, cannot hope to even put a single scratch on him. He unleashes a mighty palm attack on Muguk, and Guker thinks that this is the true power of a monarch, as Muguk was taken down in one single hit. The Jade Mask Monarch, who ruled over the 12th region, is not even a Grand Monarch, as right beneath the Grand Monarch, there are 3 titles: Lieutenant General, Major General, and the lowest of the low, which is where he's at, Brigadier General. Guker's suspicions are now confirmed. If they really had to fight such monarch on their expedition, there is no way they could have won. Chionil tells him to give up on his dream, as they cannot hope to win, ever. Haven't they all achieved pretty high positions within Chaos already? They should not try to play God, and stay at their level, as it is all they deserve. Muguk seems to have given up, but his eyes glisten once again, and he strikes at Chionil while he's still talking. Chionil is quite shocked that he still wants to continue in the state that he's in, and Muguk notes that 900 years ago, He, who has won over the Resurrection Palace by stealing their rightful fruits and killing some of their precious comrades, has no right to talk about this. He has never once forgotten the disgrace he put on him and the others on that day, and things are a lot different now. Kionil says that he's become too dull, as instead of redemption, he chooses death. But it's rather fitting for him. They both go to strike each other, but that's when Mogok unleashes the heavenly sword enigma and throws it at Kionil with every mound of strength he has left. Kionil reaches his hand forwards and notes that he's still as pitiful as ever, while unleashing his bottomless pit. This eats up Mogok's ability, and Kionil grabs him harshly, saying that he cannot hope to change anything. The others charge in to help him, but Kionil intends to finish him off now. Suddenly, from behind, Kaiman arrives, and he apologizes for being late, but since the fortress master is rather busy now, he will fight in his stead. Yurin wonders what the fortress master is so busy with, as the Abyss expedition is about to fall apart. Kaiman tells him to calm down, as he is here now, and asks Mogok if he's alright. He tells him to stop, as this is not someone he can just deal with. But Kaiman assures him that it will be okay, and tells the others to evacuate everyone from here, and get as far away as they can. Jagil tells him to stop talking about the impossible, as Mogok was not able to defeat him. Does he really think he can? Kaiman tells him once again to let him fight alone. He talks with Kionil, and says that it's been a while. He tries to remember who he is, and he finally does. He's that child from back then, the one who could not join the expedition because he was not strong enough, right? Kaiman confirms that it was him, and Kionil notes that, since he is daring enough to stand in his way, it must mean that he has become a lot stronger. Kaiman raises his sword, and says that he will see soon enough. Kionil tries to attack him, but he dodges, and thrusts his sword into his hand, which sends him flying back. Kionil notes that it's not bad, but also asks, what kind of skill is it? Kaiman explains that it's a simple thrust, but it's not as powerful as a strong thrust. However, he shouldn't be swayed by that, and fight him with everything he's got. Otherwise, he might just die. Kionil finally shows anger, as this child is deluding himself, killed by someone like him. He unleashes two golden hands on Kaiman, forcing him to dodge constantly. But when he finds the opportunity, he thrusts through one and announces that today will be the day that he will die. Kionil continues the onslaught of hands, but Kaiman remembers what he talked about with Jaewon. When he finally reached the third stage, Kaiman asked, did he really grow strong in only 2 years? Jaewon then told him that on the second floor, where they are at now, time flows much differently. But he should have known, as he could have not performed 10 billion thrust in only 2 years. Kaiman unleashes his world, much to the surprise of Kionil. Kaiman's eyes glow a light blue, and he thrusts once again, now with an even more powerful attack. He doesn't stop there, however, as he unleashes a mighty wave in Kionil's direction, and moves with it. Finally, he uses one of his strong thrusts, and leaves Kionil defenseless. After the rain finally settles, Kaiman still stands proud, while Kionil is on his last legs. Kaiman thinks that he needs to finish this once and for all, but Gyuker gets in front of him, and Yong picks Kionil up. Kaiman anticipated this, as Jaewon told him about it, but Gyuker demands he stand down, as no matter how strong he has gotten, he cannot hope to defeat a monarch with just 2 years of training. Kaiman then tells her that it was not 2 years but rather 200, and unleashes a mighty death blow in their direction, which makes everyone recoil back and create a gigantic hole through the arena. Mogok is amazed. Kaiman really won. Jaewon must have predicted all of this and sent Kaiman here. Because of this, he showed that, instead of chaos relying on him constantly, they can forge their own path and stand proud on their own. Later, while Aisha watches the replay of the match, Kaiman arrives and asks if she is the one who changed her mind among the delegation. She confirms that she is, and she did come here because of what he said. But it's because she knows better than anyone how much everyone fears the monarchs. She also asks if he really intends to fight the monarchs, and Kaiman says that he will. Aisha explains that the Resurrection Palace is a much stronger foe than the Forbidden Heaven clan ever was, and while he did defeat Kionil, he is the lowest of the low, a brigadier general. That means that in the future, he will have to fight generals far stronger than that. Kaiman knows full well, but they already ran away once 900 years ago, which is why they must not do it anymore. Aisha is surprised by his transformation, as in the past, He was someone who was crippled by his inferiority complex, as he was not born an overcharged adapter, and he always despaired when facing something that he could not pass. To think he would have changed so much. Is he really the same person? Suddenly a commotion can be heard outside, and when Aisha looks, she sees tons of people gathered near a tower of nightmares. Kaiman explains that it was made by Jaewon and the Artisan of Dawn, but it was not used for cultivating, as nobody became a product, because in that tower, someone like a cultivator does not exist. Aisha is shocked. A tower with no cultivator. Is that why Kaiman became so powerful? He tells her that she should see for herself now, that chaos is able and willing to stand up on its own. Aisha notices that even common people are willing to train, but they were extremely afraid previously. So why? Kaiman explains that it is because they desire free choice, the freedom that they lost 900 years ago. If they do not get it back with their own abilities, then it's useless. Aisha is touched that his people have started to believe in themselves again, and asks where the fortress master is now. Jaewon is chillin' with Chung Hyo in a dessert, who says that the fortress summit should be over by now, should they not go back, as he's sure there's tons of strong people there. Jaewon tells him that Kaiman will take care of it, as he has become more powerful than even him. This comment naturally angers Chung Hyo. Jaewon asks if he also didn't start from scratch, which he confirms, so Jaewon asks him, why do that, when he was about to reach the third stage awakening? Chung Hyo tells him that he did it because his method was wrong, and Jaewon notes that it must be because of the keyword he used, which surprises Chung Hyo, as he didn't think he would know about something like this. Jaewon explains that all he knew was that he saw the world much differently than he did. Everyone in Crack, including Chung Hyo, awakened via the same keyword. The first stage of awakening, dismantle, the second stage of awakening, assemble, and the final third stage of awakening, self-surrender. The awakening he knew of was not profound, and it was simply achieved by cutting down foe after foe, over and over again. Dismantle did not have any questions about the world. Assemble did not have anguish, and thus, he was able to awaken without those things. However, Jaewon is different. He questioned his existence, and understood the reason for the world's existence, which gave him anguish. Because of all of this, there was endless questioning and anguish, a path where even after obtaining his own unique world, one would need to endlessly ponder the legitimacy of that world. Chung Hyo asks Jaewon how old he is now, as a few days ago, the third floor of the tower was completed, and based on what Michael said, the density of time in that place is much thicker than that of the second floor. Additionally, he was out of the second floor for about 2 days, in chaos time. So how many years did he train for, really? Jaewon smiles and says 1,000 years. Chung Hyo finds that hard to believe, but Jaewon jokes around, is he going to talk with him formally from now on too? Chung Hyo tells him to stop playing and tell him just how long he was in there. Jaewon explains that it wasn't as much as he wanted to, but they should get going. With that, they get running, and Chung Hyo asks, is he really going to the Resurrection Palace? He says that he is, so Chung Hyo warns him, that place is extremely dangerous, and he would be better off fighting them after getting more awakened. Jaewon says that the monarchs will not just wait around. That is why they need to attack now, when they least expect it. Additionally, he will only be getting rid of the most important people in the Resurrection Palace and stealing a fruit, along with one other thing. The treasure of the mares that turns the living into the dead. The narrow gate. If one uses it, they can pass to chaos alive. And if that is the case, if he steals every fruit and destroys the gate, then the monarchs will not be able to cross over into chaos anymore, without dying first, that is. So in order to achieve all of this, he will go to the Manticore Fortress, which apparently has an alley which leads to the Resurrection Palace. It is currently occupied by the Forbidden Heaven clan, so they will not just let him pass, but well, he will do what he does best, thrust. After Jaewon blows a giant hole into the Manticore Fortress gate, Chung Hyo asks, why did he do such a thing? If they did it stealthily, they wouldn't have needed to fight the whole fortress, like they are about to now. Jaewon notes that he told him earlier why, and Chung Hyo gets it, but they need to preserve their energy, as this is just the place that they need to go through in order to get to the Resurrection Palace. Jaewon knows that full well, and uses a few light thrusts to deal with the incoming attackers. At his palace, Jin Hong looks at the fight, and notes that this time, He doesn't think the rumors about this guy are exaggerated, as he has done many other things to impress. But to think he's actually just a product, if he had seen all of this earlier, he would have dealt with him much swifter. Suddenly, a woman notes that he must be thinking deeply about something, and snaps her fingers, saying that just looking at that chaotic man is getting her excited. It's no wonder that pitch darkness wants a piece of him. Who wouldn't? This is Siren, and Jin Hong tells her to stop dressing like this in chaos, but she retorts by noting that he looks like a scarecrow with those long clothes, so he has no place to talk. She sits down next to him while talking about some gibberish, but that's when she notices he's looking at Chaewon, so she steals one of his screens and wonders what kind of technique he's using, as he's destroying everything in one hit. Jin Hong asks why she's here, besides annoying him, and she explains that she's here to tell him about something very interesting. The Jade Mask. Golden Monarch has appeared in chaos. He probably knows that already, as all of the forces sent to Garuda right before they were about to take over are all dead. After looking deeper into it, she found out that it was done by the Jade Mask Monarch, as it seems he won over Garuda and Dryad in return for helping them with something. That something is a promise, to keep the treaty where the Supreme Monarch promised to not interfere in chaos business no matter what, so he swore to not break it. However, it was Pitch Darkness who ordered this, and now even the subordinates of Iron Steel are dilly-dallying in chaos like a bunch of children. This resulted in a proxy war of the monarchs of the Holy Land. But the most interesting thing about all of this is that she heard the Jade Mask Monarch was beaten to death. Jin Hong is interested now and asks who killed him. Siren says that it was one of the 10 clan leaders, which Jin Hong doesn't believe, as they are not strong enough to kill the Jade Monarch together. She asks if she knows about those guys in the Abyss Expedition team that the Gorgon Fortress Master made, as one of them, the Southern Sea Clan leader, is supposedly the one who killed him. Jin Hong has spoke now. That should be impossible, as the Southern Sea Clan leader was never that powerful, and even if he had hidden all of his powers until now, there is no way he would unleash them now, on something so idiotic. The Jade Mask Monarch is one of the ones under the Iron Steel Monarch, one of the 12 Supreme Monarchs, that together rule over the Almighty Land. Any monarch that's Brigadier General and above are all important people, since the Almighty Land is currently going through a power struggle, so if the Southern Sea Clan leader really did what he did, things will go bad for him, fast. Siren asks, what is he going to do about Jaewon, as he was supposed to capture him, but he let him become a fortress master, and now, he's also poking around things he shouldn't be. Jin Hong explains that this just saves him time, as he didn't want to look for him, and additionally, he sent out the dead demon warriors that she made. Those beasts who can use dead power will most certainly deal with him. After Chung Hyo and Jaewon clear the way, Chung Hyo feels that something's off, as there should have been more Forbidden Heaven Clan soldiers around here. How else could they have fought the entire chaos? Jaewon says that might not be entirely true, as the dead warriors approach. Chung Hyo is shocked by their presence and by their stench, as he can smell them from here, the smell of the dead. Suddenly, someone from above notes that it's an honor to finally meet the protagonist of this case, and jumps down, noticing that the divine physician is also here. How quaint. Chung Hyo asks for his identity, as he speaks like they know each other. The man is sad that he forgot, but he will remind him. He gathered horns for the clinic, and transported patients too. That's when Chung Hyo notices that the man in front of him is Heinz, the righteous warrior. But what happened to him? Why is he meddling around with the Forbidden Heaven Clan? It is not suited for him. He should leave while he still can. Heinz asks him a simple question. Can he still say that, despite knowing what he went through in Gorgon? 100 years ago, Gorgon was in a war with a clan, the Crimson Martial Clan, which no longer exists. A total of 50 guards, including the Southern Inspection Gate captain, had died forever, because of the Crimson Martial Clan's cowardly ambush. Out of everyone, only one man survived, and that man was Heinz. That is why, a little later, Heinz begged Chung Hyo to help him become stronger, as he doesn't want to experience what he did again. Chung Hyo explained that he understands the sorrow he must be going through now. However, he has seen thousands of people like him during the 1,000 years he has lived in chaos, and he cannot grant his request. It's funny, really, when he thinks about it. He remembers the words he said, to work hard if he wants to become stronger. However, working hard is a luxury for those who are actually able to. Most other people in chaos were not in a situation where they could just work hard, like he said. So, he's wrong. He has worked hard to protect the justice he's protected his whole life. And where did that lead him? Here, where he had to break that belief. Chung-hyo asks why he looks the way he does, but Heinz ignores him and explains that the friendly and righteous man who was a second-stage adapter died 100 years ago. He was reborn, and now is the Vice Clan leader of the Forbidden Heaven clan. He moves his attention to Jaewon, as he has heard that he only uses thrusts, so he will play his little game for now. He uses Balkan's 8 fangs and a secret technique, the carotid sever, in order to unleash dead like hounds on Jaewon. He remains calm, however, and thrusts into Heinz's spear, which angers him, as he wants to know how he did that. One of his men suggests that they should attack together in this situation, which Heinz agrees with, and so they charge them all at once. Jin Hong looks at the fight, and is angry at his soldiers, as they are being cut down with extreme ease. However, if he also goes there and attacks with them, they will surely take these guys down, as he is close to monarch level. Even with that though, he can't even comprehend the amount of losses they would have if they did that. If he loses all of his dead soldiers, his plans will be ruined. He calls Siren over, who says that he should stop pestering her, as she did everything he requested already. The Spirit Stone research was completed, and she made the black cloud that created the dead warriors for him. So what more does he want? Jin Hong just looks at her, and Siren sighs, as if they made a deal. She could help him overcome this. Heinz thinks that this man is the Gorgon Fortress Master, the legend of the Path of the Waves, and the Pathfinder of an impossible path. All of these titles he gained in just a single month, and he likes none of them. He cannot believe that someone who has been here for just a month has become a Fortress Master. Even a mighty warrior like him couldn't, in the 200 years he has been here. He will not accept something like this. He transforms into a deader version of him, and forwards all of his malice towards Jaewon, as he will show him just how much hard work he put in. Jaewon dodges his attack, but it still lands in a nearby wall, where some of his soldiers were standing, and it's shown that he's quite destructive. Heinz announces that this is the power he has gotten from giving up on his beliefs, and working hard on his strength, just like Chung-hyo would have wanted him to. Jaewon notes that it's about time they end this, and unleashes a medium thrust on Heinz, which destroys the dead parts that came out of him. Seeing that their leader is in danger, the soldiers try to rush Jaewon, but Chung-hyo holds them off. Jaewon prepares an even mightier attack, and says that everyone around here is talking about how much effort they put into themselves. Everyone is so selfish, it's crazy. He strikes so hard that it opens Heinz's eyes. He now sees Jaewon's unique true world, the one that only awakened people can get. Is this really what the world looks like, to someone that has yet to submit to this world? The eye that sees every single thing and makes rules to monitor it. Is this really what he's trying to fight? He cannot lie. He's amazing, truly amazing. To think that someone would dare to fight that. Perhaps, if he hadn't given up back then, and continued his path as a righteous warrior, he would have been able to chase after the same dream. But it's too late now. This single attack was able to take down most of Manticore, and Chung-hyo notes that it should be called World Thrust instead of Strong Thrust. Heinz is also alive, and Chung-hyo wonders how he was able to only attack the buildings. Jaewon explains it like he explains everything. He just thrusted. However, now that they made a path forward, all they need to do is walk it. Suddenly, a pink portal appears, which Chung-hyo identifies as a transcendent rank space teleportation skill, Warp. Out of it, Siren appears, who says that she can't believe the dead warriors she made are so afraid. Jaewon asks who she is, which takes her by surprise, as she's the presenter of countless shows, like this week's Hot 10 or Tower of Tower. Does he not have a hologram panel at home? Jaewon says that he doesn't, and Chung-hyo explains that she's a mare, and he can confirm that all the men of chaos know her. Siren picks up his hat and notes that he has good eyes for someone so old. But did he not know that it's taboo to say that all mares are just that, mares? Each mare is known as another race, but enough about that. She introduces herself. She is Siren Armeld, not just a mare. Jaewon thinks that it's unfortunate, as he wanted to ask her tons of questions, but now, they don't have the time. So he asks her to get out of the way already. Siren explains that she cannot do such a thing, as she received a request to stop him. Jaewon does what he does best, and puts his sword forward to thrust, but Siren tells him to wait, and just hears her out for a second. She offers him a deal to become her product, as the person who asked her to stop him is in that broken-down building, almost dead from that strike of his. She will forget that promise if he becomes her product. Jae-won unleashes a light attack on her, but Siren notes that he won't be able to keep this up for long, as he must feel it too, right? Jae-won does indeed feel that the spiritual pressure is way stronger around here, so she might be a major general by the looks of it. She explains that pitch darkness is after him, and that guy is no good. She can hide him very well. If he becomes her possession, nobody in the 12 regions will dare touch him. Hae-hwan refuses, so Siren snaps her fingers and notes that it's time to do it the hard way. The ground suddenly shakes as 2 sand demons appear, since Siren has used her authority magic to make them. With that, the beasts attack, but Jae-won thrusts, and Siren tries to control her minions, but Jae-won just continues to kill them. Finally, he unleashes an attack in the ground, which creates cover for him, allowing him to dash across and get directly to Siren. She isn't shocked by this, as she could see everything he was doing already, so Hae-hwan is caught by a snake, and Siren bargains with him. In reality, she's the one losing out on this deal, as she is Siren Ahmed, the bewitching flame, that easily gets number 1 on any popularity vote out there. Suddenly, her snake minion starts convulsing, and Jae-won appears right in front of her as it explodes, which allows him to grab her by the neck and slam her on the floor. Jae-won doesn't want to kill her, as she's a mare, who would be quite useful on the Abyss expedition, and he might even find out about the first mare that's said to be at the top of the illusion tree. He asks her to surrender, but she doesn't want to, so she frees herself from his grasp and leaves, as this is too tiring for her. Suddenly, though, she appears behind him and uses the 8 gates of hell technique. Inside, Siren says that she expected him to be more surprised, but Jae-won experienced something similar before. Siren explains that what he experienced was a fake, as the real 8 gates of hell is a skill that was made by a mare. Hae-won goes through the first gate, Gale Hell, the 4th, Black Chain, and easily plows through the 6th, Frost Hell. Siren is shocked by this, as she did not expect for him to go through them so easily. However, she wishes him luck on the next gate, as this one is a doozy. When the gates open, a strange liquid comes out, and from that liquid appear the bodies of his dead comrades, the ones that are still fresh in his mind. Siren tells him to give up now, as since this skill was made, nobody got past the 7th gate. Suddenly, a few versions of him appear, and one asks who he is. This is the 7th gate, Self-Hell. Jae-won wonders what is going on, as these are all versions of him, but they are all from different times. It doesn't matter to him, as he will still fight. But that's when he notices that all of the versions of him also get ready to thrust, which takes him by surprise, as he did not expect for them to have his techniques too. However, that isn't the worst of it, as they are all semi-sentient and able to think for themselves, which will prove to be challenging. Seeing this, he charges in first, to not allow them to analyze him further, which allows him to find out that they each have the skill level he used to have when he looked like them, so they might not be as dangerous as previously anticipated. He manages to take one down, but from him comes a blurry smoke that makes him lose his footing for a bit, which allows one of them to go behind him. Jae-won is swift, however, and he easily takes him out, but when he does that, a version of him in military clothing falls from the sky and meets his eyes, begging him to stop. Suddenly, he is transported back to a certain memory, where one of the soldiers he served with apologizes fruitlessly, as he has slaughtered many people. Jae-won remembers this memory, as he had it right before he entered the tower. The man continues to apologize, as he has worked hard. He knows that too, but now, it is too late. With a heavy heart, he thanks Jae-won for everything, and points the gun at himself. The bullet casing falls, and Jae-won remembers that this man was his successor, and also a counselor. He was harassed endlessly by others, which caused him to shoot all of his predecessors and executives in the middle of the night. He was the only one that survived, and all of the leaders, platoon commanders, and battalion commanders were placed somewhere else. Fortunately for him, he was acquitted of any suspicions, because that man wrote in his diary that he was one of the ones who was really friendly. But still, he was thrown in prison for 15 days. In that solitude, he began questioning everything, and maybe then, he really started to hate the system. Naturally, he did not know anything of the world of skills or status, but maybe he was already living in a world of the system, where it suppressed individuals wherever it could. Jae-won starts to damn everything. As his life flashes before his eyes, his friends, his comrades, himself. Was any of it even true? He continues to thrust and thrust until a child version of him asks, "Who is he?" This makes him experience fear, something which he hasn't in a long time, but it also makes him tear up. Even still, he strikes himself, and Siren asks him, "How does it feel to experience this gate?" Awakeners say that self-surrender is becoming a new existence, which will make them forget their original self entirely. So awakeners like him, who have experienced self-surrender, receive much more damage from the 8 gates of hell. Even mayors would take their own lives when they experienced something like this, because they simply could not handle that their ego had gotten too large. But to him, it's entirely different. Suddenly, Chung-hyo slashes the 8 gates of hell away and tells him to come to his senses already. Siren holds him gently and whispers in his ear, for someone like him, the ego that he has forgotten after self-surrender, will he really be able to handle going back in time like this? Jae-won thinks that these are all memories he has thrown away, and this place is a world where he has to end himself in order to continue moving forwards. The gate once again asks who he is, but when he wants to answer, the memories start flooding in, making him think that this place truly deserves its name. It's hell. His body is heavy, and he cannot see anything. Suddenly, he remembers when he and Chung-hyo were teaching Kamen about awakening. Awakening is learning to see, the ability to see the world for what it truly is. There is a difference from awakeners and adapters, however, as the awakened see the values that are truth, and the particles that make up the world. Adapters are able to read the data that cannot be seen, and see things very differently. That is the stage of self-surrender mentioned in Awakenings. In return for this, awakened need to be careful of neglect, as being able to see so many things will eventually make a person blind. Jae-won finally gets it. What is happening to him now is the neglect that Chung-hyo was talking about. Those who see too much become blind quicker, and those who hear too much become desensitized quicker. Jae-won is saddened by this. Does it really not matter? To come this far, he has done his utmost. Nobody else was able to come this far. However, now, he knows that he just wants to be able to say that he's having a hard time easily, like everyone does. The world changes around him, and he sees a blue sky with falling stars, which are his memories. He starts to feel a deep understanding and connects the dots. Who is he? Well, he does not know, but at least he is here. But maybe, the countless memories he has gotten over the 2,000 years he has lived, and the connections of all of those memories. Maybe, just maybe, that is him. Out of nowhere, the 7th gate begins to crumble, and Siren begins to vomit as she is experiencing rebound. Jae-won opens his eyes with a new deep understanding and pushes her away, whilst also destroying the gate entirely. He looks at the next gate and wonders what the next keyword is, as he has almost gotten past self-surrender. He will have to leave that for later though, as now, he needs to challenge this final gate. Jae-won looks at the 8th gate and touches it, fully prepared for anything that is to come out of it. Suddenly, it starts opening itself while glowing brightly, and when Jae-won enters, he finds nothing except a large, serene space. He wonders what to do, but that's when the stars begin writing a message. He would like to tell this visitor about his trivial story, since he has passed all of the gates of hell. Jae-won guesses that these are just the records of the one that made the gates, so he watches eagerly. The text notes that he still remembers when the first Abyss expedition started, and identifies himself as Mulark Armelt. This is simply a record of his failure. Outside, chatter can be heard around, and Chung-hyo begs Jae-won to wake up, but he doesn't move an inch, and the same goes for Siren. Even though she used the technique, she's as unconscious as him. He is weary of this because the people from the Resurrection Palace have arrived, and among them, there's a major general-level guy. The general asks his men if they have found anything yet, and when they reply with no, he commands them to search even more thoroughly, as he is sure those weaklings are around here, somewhere. This is the 11th stage adapter, the hidden scent monarch, Samyong-garam. Chung-hyo is very scared of him, as he is one of the main fighting forces of the 9 regions. Just what is someone so powerful doing in chaos all of a sudden? Suddenly Garam feels something, and sends his attention directly to where Chung-hyo is. He starts preparing a mighty attack, and congratulates them for having hidden for so long, like the little rats they are. He throws a mystical punch at them, but fortunately Siren has woken up, and she teleports them out of there just in time. With his prey gone, Garam focuses his attention somewhere else, and orders his men to reclaim Manticore and search for the Forbidden Heaven Clan leader. While getting out of the portal, Siren wonders, just how many times has she died today only? She also asks Chung Hyo if he has nothing to say after she saved his life so graciously. Naturally, he starts screaming at her, as he is the one who looked after them. Shouldn't he be getting the thanks, not her? She notes that this means they are even, and thinks about what to do, coming to the conclusion that it's better to go to the Gorgon fortress first and foremost. Chung Hyo asks if she has surrendered already, but she explains that naturally she has not. She just has business with this passed-out man. Chung Hyo says that he has already sent a letter to Gorgon via Messenger Eagle, although he did not expect that Jaewon would still be out cold right now. So, right about now, some warriors who have awakened must have already departed. Indeed, as he says, countless warriors led by Kaiman arrive, and he commands them, from now on, Carpe Diem, the Liberation Army of Gorgon will depart, pass Manticore, and strike the Resurrection Palace once and for all. They charge in with more confidence than ever before, and they all think that with this many awakened all at once, they might actually have a chance. They might just win. Garam sits idly by and watches them while wondering, wouldn't it have been better if they would just stay here, in chaos, and adapt to it fully? He smashes a wall, and notes that they are quite ambitious. But ambition comes from foolishness. He throws part of the wall he broke in small pebbles, which easily tear through the army, as if they were real bullets. Yegal is left awestruck, as he has never seen this kind of power, and so is Jung, who watches as Yegal is killed right in front of him, without any way to defend himself, and without mercy. Garam warns them one final time. They should go back quietly, and forget about their clueless ambitions once and for all. He slams the ground with his feet, and Jung notices that something big is coming, so he orders the remaining soldiers to focus on attacking that guy with everything they have. Unfortunately for them, this was what Garam was waiting for. He unleashes an attack that engulfs them whole, with red misty energy, and Jung is the only one that is able to get out of there, but not without having his arm pulled out of its socket. After this, Carpe Diem, the Liberation Army, has retreated, and that retreat was caused by one single man, the hidden Scent Monarch, who changed the tide of war in an instant. 10 days later, in the Gorgon's inner fortress meeting room, Yurin announces that, starting from the squadron of 3rd Stage Awakened, 1st Squadron Commander Carlton, to the 9th Squadron of the 9th Stage Adapter, Limitless Clan Leader, along with all of the other squadrons of Carpe Diem, half of their entire forces were decimated in just 10 days. This is a mighty blow to them, because they lost 5 3rd Stage Awakened that were crucial to their fighting force. Aisha trembles, and notes that it would be difficult to continue this war. And what's more, the Resurrection Palace has already reached the doorsteps of the Gorgon Fortress. If they accept the offer that they proposed, they might just make it. The Fire King clan leader asks if she really is suggesting that they hand over the Fortress Master along with the tower, just so that they can survive. Kaiman agrees. They cannot hand over Jaewon, and even if she might be extremely keen with her eyes, he knows that she can't see the future. Jaewon already commanded them anyway, that they should just pave the way. That is all they need to do. Aisha notes that with things going as they are, they have no chance of winning. Maybe they should ask the other monarchs for help, as currently, all of the monarchs that have been dispatched are a part of the 9th region, Pitch Darkness, and most know already that there is still a long-time grudge between the Strong Steel and Pitch Darkness. Jurin wonders if that's wise as they killed his emissary already, the Jade Mask Golden Monarch. Aisha explains that technically, he isn't dead, because those who enter chaos via the narrow gate like he did would just return to their original bodies once they die here. Kaima notes that, even if the Monarch of Steel chooses to help, they should refuse it, because Chaos must be the one to liberate Chaos, and nobody else. Chung-hyo and Siren sit beside Jaewon, who is still very unconscious, and Chung-hyo screams at her to wake him up, since she was the one who made him like this in the first place. What kind of illusion has she cast to make him fall asleep for 10 damn days? Siren screams back at him. He is the doctor in this place. So if he's that upset about it, shouldn't he do something about it? Chung-hyo ignores what she said for now and asks what she is still doing here. Is she not in cahoots with the Monarch of Pitch Darkness? She explains that the contract they made doesn't matter anymore now, since there is a human who is able to break free from the 8 gates of hell now. Chung-hyo wonders what's so special, as that is just an illusion skill she cast on him. Really, it's nothing to write home about. Siren gets even madder, and through her screaming, explains that the 8 gates of hell is not just a skill, it's incredible. And it wasn't even made for humans to use. Its true power is shown when a real mare starts to use it. However, he had hoped that anyone could use this skill, and so, she thought it to the Savant clan. Since nobody has ever been able to break through the 8 gates of hell. She has seen it broken a few times though, but when that happened it was used by humans, so it wasn't at full power. Additionally, what was broken was not the skill, but the mind of the user. But Jaewon is different from the others, as he managed to break her mind, but broke the skill completely too, as he broke through the 7th gate and arrived at the final 8 gate. For his information, the 8 gate is the gate of rewards, and it's said that those who get there get a very generous reward. Chung-hyo has heard about this before. If there is a human that could pass all of the gates and get to the 8, they would become the king of chaos. He heard this from Jagal, but he did not expect it to hold some truth. Siren notes that what is behind the 8 gate is the legacy that her godfather has left behind, his knowledge. Before she can explain further, Jaewon suddenly wakes up and is very confused as to what just happened. He explains what he saw to Siren and Chung-hyo while getting dressed and notes that now it's time to go to the meeting room. Chung-hyo tries to stop him, as he mustn't go there now, since there are people who are suggesting that they hand him over to the Resurrection Palace. Jaewon ignores him figuratively and literally as he steps over him, leaving Chung-hyo shocked. When Jaewon arrives in the meeting room, some are glad to see him, and some are ashamed, as they have considered something extremely bad. After a few moments of silence, he announces that he will go to the Resurrection Palace, which nobody expected. Kaiman asks him, what is he talking about? He cannot do something like that. He should reconsider. He just cannot go there. Suddenly, Jung includes himself in the conversation and asks him, does he not know that a lot of their comrades have died while he was passed out? They wouldn't have died if they hadn't come to know of freedom and hope. There was not even time to hold the soul farewell procession for them. Jaewon apologizes, and Jung explains that he hates him to his very core, that he dared to give them life, freedom, and hope. However, despite all of that, they really need him right now. He begs him, along with everyone else, to not go to the Resurrection Palace and stay right here. At the very least, they would rather die while fighting with him. Chung-hyo is shocked by their reaction, as he has given them something unbelievable that he should not have, and now, in order for them to protect what they got, they will all give up their lives for it, if need be. Jaewon says that they are mistaken about one thing though. He is not going to the Resurrection Palace to surrender himself. He is going to the Resurrection Palace in order to send all of them flying. Everyone in the room is shocked, and Chung-hyo, who knew it was coming, is still just as shocked. Young asks if he has gone insane, but Jaewon notes that he's always clear of mind. They all start screaming at him, and asks when he will do it, and he replies with, right now. Siren finds him quite strange but intriguing, as reality does not exist for him, but it does for these humans, who always kneel in front of reality. Knowing this, nobody will be following him in that suicide mission. She is proven wrong, however, as they all throw themselves at him, as they all want to go, in order to free themselves. Siren thinks that they are all insane. So far they have been living with no problems as souls. Why care so suddenly about life and freedom? Is this really the effect Jaewon had on them? Jaewon is grateful for their thoughts, but he will only bring 3 people with him, Chung-hyo, Kaiman, and Siren, who did not expect to be invited at all, so she is rather scared. But Jaewon just smiles. Siren asks why she would go there, but Jaewon keeps talking to the others, and notes that even if they are not coming, they will each have their own tasks. Siren screams and screams at him to get his attention, but Chung-hyo tells her to give up. They ask what kind of tasks, and a myriad of other questions, like if destroying the Resurrection Palace really is the end, and what will happen once chaos is united. Most importantly, chaos wouldn't recognize chaos as the core, and many will try to cause division, which is bound to appear at some point. Yong says that they should worry about that when they get to it, as once they destroy the narrow gate, the monarchs will not be able to pass anymore. Jaewon tells him to not be so sure, as he is sure that the narrow gate wasn't the original way to enter chaos. Yong is left wondering about it, but before Jaewon can say anything, Siren finally gets to him and screams in his ear that she's not going. But he offers her a deal. If she helps him, he will tell her about what he saw on the 8th gate, since he is sure that she does not know. Eventually, they all make their way to her workshop and start touching her stuff, even though she told them not to. She explains the embarrassing stuff as gifts from her godfather. She is very conflicted about having others enter her personal workshop, but it cannot be helped as they need to warp to the Resurrection Palace, which can only be done via warp drive, which she has in here. Chung-hyo finds one of her early towers and goes inside, where he finds the Firewheel Monarch and the 7 Fear Monarch, which he immediately slays. These people were once products, but they remain stuck in the spaces that she created. For those who have been products before, however, what would they feel when they enter the workshop of a mayor? Jaewon also finds a tower and asks what its name is. Siren says that it's called the World After the End, but it is not finished yet, as he can clearly see. She has started building this tower after she first met him, but she doesn't know how he would feel about it once he sees it. Eventually, she gets the portal going, and she notes that it feels strange, like something is wrong, but well, just maybe her godfather went on the expedition because it felt like this. At the Resurrection Palace, a man watches as others bicker below him. He thinks of them as fools, as if they were people who could reincarnate. They wouldn't be queuing here, but going to the fruit repository instead. Shouldn't they have given up by now, considering they have been waiting for half a year already? This is the 72th Resurrection Palace Master, the Fog Monarch, Hichtmeyer. Some people below him compare their situation and note that even if he doesn't like it, they are similar, since he has also been here for a long time. Naturally, Meyer is insulted by this and puts them in their place, which makes them grovel at his feet instantly. However, he still finds it boring, as if it weren't for the treaty, he wouldn't be just standing around here. The monarchs that came to chaos after dying in their previous lives have a duty tied to them, that they will become the palace master until the next monarch dies and comes to chaos. He hopes that soon, someone will die and take his place. Maybe it will be that Jade Mask monarch that was defeated by the Abyss expedition, or that's what he heard at least. Suddenly, the wall starts cracking, and sure enough, it's spread wide open by a giant explosion. Meyer immediately blocks the attack with his powers, but notices that they weren't pushing each other in any way, so his opponent is at the same level as him. While he charges in, he asks if this is the Gorgon Fortress Master, but when he clashes blades, he notices water, as Kaiman was the one to attack. He explains that he's not the Fortress Master, but someone he knows well enough, so he is here to get his payback from 900 years ago. Kaiman tries to attack Meyer, but using his breath ability, he creates a large smoke screen around them which blocks Kaiman's vision greatly. He looks around multiple times but can't even hope to sense Meyer's presence, despite having trained for so long. He really is too weak. That's when he remembers Jaewon's words, that he can do it, that he believes in that fully. This gives Kaiman the push he needs, and his senses become sharper than ever, allowing him to detect Meyer, who is above him, and strike in just a second. Meyer backs away, but he has been hit pretty badly, and he's naturally shocked to see that Kaiman could notice his presence so well. This makes him full to the brim with rage, as he thinks that Kaiman has become too arrogant for his own good. Somewhere close, Jaewon tells Chung-hyo that he's going to the Pleasure Palace and bringing the mayor with him. He is sure that Kaiman is fully capable of handling this fight. Chung-hyo agrees and tells him a little something about the Pleasure Palace. The palace that's hidden by the fruit and narrow gate is at the very top of the Resurrection Palace, and the energy coming out of it isn't good news, so he should be careful as he will try to reduce the monarchs heading to the Pleasure Palace with Kaiman. Inside of the palace, the real Firewheel Monarch and 7 Fear Monarch wait for anyone to arrive, as what Chung-hyo met previously were fakes. He charges in just like before, but these monarchs have ample time to dodge. They are quite surprised to see the Divine Physician in here, as they heard that the Gorgon Fortress Master was to be their opponent. But there's just him, an old and frail man. Chung-hyo is surprised that they dodged his slash with such ease. The two monarchs say that it's not too late for him. If he brings the Gorgon Fortress Master here, everything will be forgiven. Even if he was able to handle the two of them at once, he will not be able to deal with all of the brigadier generals that are safeguarding the fruits. Chung-hyo tells them to stop yapping, as they will solve all of this through fighting like they should have in the first place. In the inside of the Resurrection Palace, at the Pleasure Palace to be precise, Tons of people seem to be having fun. The timid monarch, Reika, notes that the stuff that is happening at the main gate has gotten to be quite loud. Shouldn't they go and have a look, just in case? The second dragon monarch tells him to relax, as Meyer will surely deal with them. The fourth dragon monarch isn't bothered by the conversation and is just enjoying the lady's company. The third dragon monarch notes that it just doesn't feel good if he doesn't stop by this place whenever he is in chaos, and the fifth dragon monarch agrees. It would be pain if they get their gems cut off by the female monarch alliance in the Almighty Land after all. He does not want to lose his because he did something stupid. The first dragon monarch, who is sitting somewhere private, wonders why the chaos people have a problem with living in this place, as it's really nice. The fight outside continues as the cups in this place begin to shake because of it, and Reika thinks that this just doesn't sound good, no matter what. He tries to make the others look outside, even for a second, but they will not budge as they believe the palace master will take care of it. They don't need to ruin their fun for such a thing. Reika still presses them about it, as if something were to happen. How can they deal with the consequences? Before he can yap again, the fourth dragon monarch throws his cup at his head as he was too damn noisy. He should just shut up and stay still instead of ruining their fun like this. If he really is bothered by it, he should go check out what is happening himself. Reika starts gripping his staff out of anger, and the fourth dragon monarch sees this as an invitation to fight. The others start looking at Reika with vicious red eyes, which makes him tremble. So he notes that it wasn't his intention to insult. He will go to look alone. The others laugh at him as he leaves, but Reika looks back at them and promises that one day, he will have his revenge no matter what. Suddenly, the first dragon monarch slowly but surely begins staring at him with an even deeper malice than the others combined. This makes him run away in fear, and the fourth dragon monarch thanks him as he knows how to deal with noisy people very well. The first dragon monarch explains that he just hates noise. That's all there is to it. While they laugh at his expense, a purple light that they have put for ambience begins to flicker, and static begins to appear above them as the light is almost put out by the sheer force. The others notice this only after Siren and Jaehwan are above them, and they are naturally surprised. But Jaehwan doesn't give them the time to regroup and charges in swiftly. The monarchs manage to get away from the blast just in time, but that doesn't mean that they did not see the amount of power that the attack had. Jaehwan stands surrounded by them, and the first dragon monarch thinks that he must be the Gorgon fortress master. Jaehwan confirms it, and the first dragon monarch notes that he must be insane to come here all by himself. Though, is he here to keep his word, perhaps? Jaehwan denies that notion, and explains that he is here to do one simple thing, to kill all of them. The first dragon monarch smiles, and he notes that a lowly soul of chaos should not dare to even think of such a thing. Truly, his arrogance knows no limits. Seeing that he is out for blood, Siren warns Jaehwan to dodge the incoming attack, but it moves too swiftly, and Jaehwan is thrown at the wall. He is not keen on giving up, however, and so he tries to use the momentum to throw himself back at his enemy, but that's when the other monarchs charge in, forcing him to dodge if he doesn't want to be struck. Jaehwan throws himself at the floor, but he swiftly gets up, as against these opponents, there is no time to sit still. The first dragon monarch tells him to stand more proudly, as he will make him pay with his life for disrupting their moment of peace like this. Even if he struggles as much as he can, he will not leave this pleasure palace alive. He orders the other monarchs to attack, and in that second, they all transform into swift red lines due to the amount of speed that they are moving with. Jaehwan tries to hit them, but the attack is too slow, and he gets mocked because of this. A powerful attack is useless if it does not hit a single thing. Jaehwan notices that these bastards are very coordinated, as they are attacking him one after another without resting at all. They will be troublesome to deal with, that's for sure. The third dragon monarch tries to hit him with an awfully heavy attack, allowing Jaehwan to attack him afterwards, but the attack was quite weak, so it bought him only a few seconds of time. Seeing an opportunity, the second and fourth dragon monarchs attack him at the same time, which deals some decent damage. The fourth dragon monarch says that no matter how strong he may be, he cannot win against them by his lonesome. The second dragon monarch notes that even a major general isn't able to block their combined attacks alone. Jaehwan agrees with them. It is tough to deal with all of them individually. However, since it's so damn annoying, he will blast all of them at once. That will make his job much easier. He does just that, and unleashes a mighty attack that can be heard by Chung Hyo, who is still fighting the two monarchs. After the attack is fully discharged, Everything around Jae-won is crumbled, and he is also in a very poor state. Unfortunately for him, the attack did not hit anyone, as the first Dragon Monarch has blocked his attack by himself, clearly telling him that they are worlds apart when it comes to strength. Siren watches all of this happen from above, and thinks that she did not expect the first Dragon Monarch to defend so easily against such a powerful attack. Are these people who are tasked with defending the Resurrection Palace really on such a different level? The first Dragon Monarch pulls out his sword and cannot believe that he dares to ambush the Resurrection Palace with those petty and awfully weak tricks. He is truly mocking them, in more ways than he can count. However, to rectify his awful and arrogant behavior,